Hi boys and girls, Mrs. Jockle here for another week of grammar lessons. So grab your Simple Solution grammar book and get ready to hang out with me. We are starting with lesson 125 for this week. 125. So let's go ahead and get started. On number 1, we need to find the root word of these words. So a root word is simply the main word that we see in these other words. And oftentimes, words will have a prefix or a suffix added on. So let's see if we can find the root word. Dislike, likely, likable, or likeness. Well, in each word, we see or hear the word like. So that would be our root word. And the other parts of the words would either be the suffix or the prefix that's added on. But our root word, which is our main word, is like. Number 2, underline the adjective. Remember, adjectives are describing words. They give us more details about a noun. So our sentence says, pearls and precious stones fell from Gretel's apron. Well, precious is telling us what kind of stones they are. It's giving us more detail about the stones. So that would be the adjective in the sentence. On number 3, choose the word that means to put something together and then use it in a sentence. Preview, assemble, or compare. Well, assemble actually means to put something together. So to use it in a sentence, they said, I had to assemble the toy. I might say, Noah had to assemble his Lego tower again since Sadie knocked it over. So I could have said Noah had to reassemble his Lego tower because that would have meant the same as to assemble again. So see if you can come up with your own sentence using the word assemble, meaning to put something together, or you could use my example or the book example. Moving on to number 4, what does the underlined word mean? The travelers were incredulous because the magic forest was so beautiful. Incredulous is not a word that you hear often or see every day, but there are some clues in the sentence. It's a magic forest and it's beautiful. So how do you think that would make the travelers feel? Bored, unbelieving, or frightened? Well, unbelieving means to not believe. And if it's a magic forest and it's so beautiful, it would be hard to believe that it actually was real. So unbelieving is what incredulous means. On number 5, we need to underline the adverb that is comparing. Remember, an adverb is a word that is describing the verb. It describes the action in our sentence. Arrive earlier if you want to get a good seat. Earlier is telling us when we should arrive. We should arrive earlier so we can get a good seat. On number 6, circle the antecedent and then write a pronoun that agrees. Caleb wrote a story and Zach illustrated blank. Well, what are we talking about in this sentence? We're talking about the story. So we want to circle story. And instead of saying story again, what could we put in this blank? Well, they used the pronoun it. Caleb wrote a story and Zach illustrated it. So we have our antecedent and our pronoun. Okay, over to number 7. We need to write a possessive pronoun that can fit in the sentence. A possessive pronoun is a pronoun that takes the place of somebody's name, but then it also indicates that there is ownership. That's where the possessive part comes in. So words like my, your, his, her, its, our, and their are all possessive pronouns. So in our sentence, ask Lisa to bring blank radio to the meeting. You could say, ask Lisa to bring my radio to the meeting. Ask Lisa to bring your radio to the meeting. So maybe you're talking to someone else and you're telling them to ask Lisa to bring your radio. Ask Lisa to bring his radio to the meeting. I know that kind of sounds funny because Lisa is a girl, so would typically say ask Lisa to bring her radio to the meeting, but maybe you're talking about a different person. Maybe it's you, Lisa, and your friend Bob, and you're saying to Bob, ask Lisa to bring his radio to the meeting. So you're talking about somebody else, Bob's radio. Ask Lisa to bring our radio to the meeting, or we could even say ask Lisa to bring their radio to the meeting if you're talking about other people. Typically, I think most of us would have said ask Lisa to bring my radio or her radio, but any of the other possessive pronouns would work as well. Okay, on number 8, we need to use prefixes that mean not to create some new words. So if we wanted a word that means not correct, we could use the prefix in and say incorrect. If we wanted a word that means not stoppable, we could use the prefix un and say unstoppable. If we wanted a word that means not respectful, we could use the prefix dis and say disrespectful. All right, number 9, we need to put our commas and quotation marks in our dialogue in the correct places. So remember, we use commas to separate our words from the speaker and quotation marks around the exact words. So Gabrielle asked, "Have you seen my new puppy?" So we put a comma after asked to separate Gabrielle from her words, and then quotation marks around what she is saying. "Have you seen my new puppy?" "She looks so much like mine," exclaimed Austin. Well, we're going to put quotation marks around the words that Austin is saying. "She looks so much like mine." And in this case, we don't need to put a comma because there's already an exclamation mark. Because of that exclamation mark, it takes the place of putting a comma. Now, if Austin wasn't exclaiming this and saying it with excitement, then we could get rid of the exclamation mark and put a comma. But we never want to have both punctuation marks there. All right, on number 10, we need to use a conjunction to connect the words in our sentences below. You can work alone, blank in small groups. We can't do both together, so we would use the conjunction or. You can work alone or in small groups. Grandma gave me a hug, blank a kiss. Grandmas like both, so a hug and a kiss. All right, guys, that ends lesson 125, which means we are now at lesson 126. If you're continuing on, keep your book open, just turn to the next page. Otherwise, if you need a break, you can pause the video, come back again in a few minutes, or even the next day, just fast forward to this spot for lesson 126. All right, let's go ahead and continue. It says to insert commas and quotation marks in the dialogue. So we just did that on the last lesson. So let's look at our sentences. Your painting is amazing, admired Joni. Quotation marks go around the exact words that Joni is speaking, and then a comma to separate her words from the speaker. So a comma after amazing. Angel answered, I'd be glad to show you how to do it. So we need a comma after answer to separate the speaker, which is Angel, from her words, and then quotation marks around exactly what she is saying. I'd be glad to show you how to do it. Okay, on number 2, we need to choose the word that means to tell how two things are the same. So preview, assemble, and compare. Well, compare tells us how things are the same. Like we need to compare our notes. We need to see if our notes are the same. How about I will compare the two characters in my story. So you can compare characters in a story. You might compare shapes with one another. We did that in math not too long ago. You might compare animals in science class. You might compare rocks. There's lots of things that you can compare, And when you compare, you're trying to see how things are the same. So see if you can come up with a sentence of your own, or feel free to borrow mine or the example from the book. And looking now at number 3, we need to circle the noun that is the subject of the sentence, and then underline the noun that is the object. So subject nouns are in the beginning of our sentence because they tell us who or what our sentence is about. Teresa hikes in the park. So who is this about? Well, it's about Teresa. Teresa is a person, so that is a noun, and that is our subject noun. And then she hikes in the park, so we would underline the park because that is the object noun. It is the place that she is hiking. On number 4, we need to choose the correct coordinating conjunction to complete each sentence. The tree was probably a red maple, but it could have been a sugar maple. That conjunction would work, or would also work. The tree was probably a red maple, or it could have been a sugar maple. So either of those conjunctions would work in that sentence. For the second one, I needed a haircut, so my mom made an appointment for me. We could also use and. I needed a haircut, and my mom made an appointment for me. Either of those would work. Okay, on number 5, we need to underline the 2 ideas in the complex sentence, and then circle the conjunction that is joining them together. Kenny rode the Ferris wheel after he rode a roller coaster. Well, what did Kenny do? Kenny rode the Ferris wheel. What else? He rode a roller coaster, and the word that's joining them is after. So that would be our subordinating conjunction. On number 6, we need to underline the helping verb and the main verb. So Whitney is visiting many other states. Well, don't forget that our verb is the action. So what is Whitney doing? Visiting, but the helping verb in front is helping it out. So is visiting. The helping verb tells us if it's happening in the past, present, or future tense. So is visiting. Okay, over to the next page, number 7. What does the underlined word mean? Aunt Bernice loved dainty things. Now, this could be kind of difficult if you've never heard the word dainty before. Do you think Aunt Bernice loved delicate things, English things, or clay things? I guess any of those choices could really work in that sentence, but dainty is the same as delicate, okay? So maybe if you were unsure and it's kind of hard to use context clues, you could always use a dictionary to look up the meaning of the word, or rely on some of your prior knowledge or experiences to see if you can uncover the meaning of those words. On number 8, it talks about words that have pedi or ped are from a Latin word that means foot. So a pedicure is a treatment for your feet, and a pedestrian is a person walking. It has the word ped, and walking uses your feet, and pedicure has the Latin word pedi, which is a treatment for your feet, as we see over in the picture, somebody getting a pedicure. Okay, on number 9, read the words and think about the shades of meaning. We want to put a star next to the stronger statement. Grandma was astonished when we rode our bikes all the way to her house. Grandma was surprised when we rode our bikes all the way to her house. So out of astonished and surprised, which one has a stronger shade of meaning? Yeah, astonished is much stronger than just saying surprised. All right, and number 10, choose the words that match the underlined word. Choose the words. So there should be more than one answer. Whew, that horrible traffic jam was an ordeal. So what is an ordeal? If there was a horrible traffic jam, would that be enjoyable? Certainly not. Would it be a breeze? Easy? No. It would be a challenge, that's for sure. and a difficulty. It would make your travel very difficult. So an ordeal is a challenge and something that is difficult. Okay? And you can see these guys just are relaxing in the traffic jam, making the best of it. All right, anyways, boys and girls, that ends lesson 126, which means we are up next with lesson 127. Halfway there, boys and girls. All right, lesson 127, let's get started. It says to underline the verb in the sentence. Remember, a verb is an action word. It tells us what our subject is doing. Catherine had completed her homework before dinner. So what did Catherine do? She completed her homework, but we can't forget the helping verb had. Had completed, it tells us that this was in the past. Choose the word that completes the sentence. I blank, it is better to floss your teeth after brushing. I suppose, I frighten, or I weather. Suppose makes the most sense. I suppose it is better to floss your teeth after brushing. Number 3, choose the words that match the underlined word. I have absorbed all that I am able to in one school day. Absorbed, what does that mean? I have ignored all that I'm able to? No. I have soaked up? Yeah. I often think of the word absorbed when I'm thinking of a sponge or a paper towel. So I have soaked up all that I'm able to in one school day. I have forgot all that I'm able to. Hopefully not. Taken in. Absorbed means taken in or soaked up. All right, number 4, circle the noun that is the subject of the sentence and then underline the noun that is the object. So we have Hallie combs her hair. Well, the subject is who our sentence is about. Hallie. So we would circle Hallie. And hair would be the object because it is a thing that Hallie is combing. Number 5, choose the word that means to show and use it in a sentence. We have demonstrate, contrast, and effect. Well, to show something means you're demonstrating it. You're doing a demo. And so they used it in a sentence by saying the fireman will demonstrate how to use a fire extinguisher. So he will demonstrate, he will show how to use a fire extinguisher. Okay, let's see. I will demonstrate how to build a rocket ship. All right, so I will demonstrate how to build a rocket ship. So see if you can come up with your own example sentence using the word demonstrate. On number 6, we need a plural possessive noun to complete the sentence. Now, there could be some different choices here. All the blank bikes were decorated for the parade. They said all the children's bikes. Children is more than one child, and the apostrophe S shows us that the bikes belong to all of the children. You could have said all of the girls' bikes, and you would make girls plural by adding an S and then the apostrophe to show that there is ownership. All of the boys' bikes were decorated. So again, you would put an S on boy to make it plural and then the apostrophe. So I would say those are probably the common choices that you would come up with. If you're unsure, just check and ask yourself, did I use a plural noun? That means more than one of something. And then did you make it show ownership by adding the apostrophe? And it's tricky where the apostrophe goes. It's either going to go after the S if your plural noun is before it, or if you have an irregular noun like child, we don't go to childs, we go to children for the plural form, and then we use an apostrophe S. So just double check. Over to the next page, number 7, it says to draw a line to match the underlined expression with its meaning. So if we said, this award is a real feather in my cap. Well, we're talking about an award, so if it's a feather in your cap, it means it's an honor. It's something great to have. I think he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. A wolf in sheep's clothing, that's a disguise. Because really on the inside, you look different than you do on the outside. So that means to look nice on the outside. So on the outside, you would look like a sheep, which is much nicer than the inside, which is a wolf. Okay, so just a silly phrase. And that rings a bell. I'm sure you've heard that phrase before. That means something you remember. Oh, that rings a bell. Okay, it's like you remember something, the light bulb's going off. All right, and number 8, what does the underlined word mean? Get out of the bathtub before your fingers and toes shrivel. I'm sure mom or dad has said that to you before. Does that mean before your fingers and toes swell, wrinkle, or chap? Well, if you've spent a lot of time in a swimming pool or a bathtub, you know it means your fingers will wrinkle or they get all pruny. They kind of get shriveled up. So those 2 words are synonyms. Okay, number 9, use a prefix to write a word that means the same as the word in parentheses. So a prefix is something that we add on to the beginning of a word to change its meaning. Vote no if you do not agree with the plan. So a word that means not agree. So I'm going to go over to my chart. The prefix that means not is dis. So I could say, vote no if you disagree with the plan. All right, and lastly here, it says to underline the concrete nouns. So concrete nouns, remember, are things that we can physically see, feel, touch, and then abstract nouns are more of those thoughts and feelings. The dog barked at the movement of the toad. Well, a dog is a concrete noun. It's something we actually can see, feel, and touch. A toad is another concrete noun. It's a thing. Movement, that would be the abstract noun, because although we can see what movement looks like for each of those animals, we can't just look at movement on its own. So that is an abstract noun. All right, that ends lesson 127. Up next is lesson 128, and this will finish out our grammar lessons for this week. And then I encourage you to go take a break. So lesson 128, here we go. Number 1 says to write an adjective that tells what kind of fire. Stay away from the blank fire, my mother warned. Stay away from the hot fire. That might be a common word to describe the fire. You might say stay away from the burning fire. Burning is describing the fire. Stay away from the large fire. That would still be kind of telling what kind, but more, what size, I guess. Stay away from the blazing fire. Blazing is a fancier way of saying that something is burning. Okay? So you could use one of those adjectives or see if you can come up with your own. Number 2, choose the correct form of the verb. Use the verb think. Okay, so Cole think he had failed the test. Cole think or thinked? No, we have to change this verb. It's irregular. So in the past tense, the word changes to thought. Cole thought he had failed the test. Sydney thinks she'll try out for a team this year. Thinks is in the present tense. Okay, number 3, fill in the blank with the word that fits the meaning of the sentence. The blank full moon lit up the night sky. The fading full moon? Well, if it was fading, it wouldn't really light up the whole sky. Brilliant full moon or the faint? Faint can have a couple different meanings. It can mean when you kind of pass out, or when you're scared and you kind of faint, or it can mean kind of like lighter. If it's real faint, it's not very bright. So I'm thinking no for faint, but brilliant. The brilliant full moon lit up the night sky. Okay, number 4 says to choose an adjective or adverb to complete each sentence. So an adjective is a descriptive word. It describes a noun. An adverb is also a descriptive word, but it describes an action. Rufus blank shakes the water from his soggy fur. Rufus happily shakes the water, or Rufus happier shakes the water. Well, I think you can hear that happily sounds better because it's an adverb describing how Rufus is shaking the water. Mindy is happier when she is swimming than when she is driving. Happier is an adjective in the sentence describing Mindy. She is happier. So it's actually an adjective that compares. All right, number 5, choose the word to complete the sentence. Write it on the line, and we're going to circle the vowel, consonant, consonant, vowel pattern. I can't wait for the author to blank her new book. Publish, muffin, or tunnel. Well, publish goes there, especially since the clue word is author and book. And then the vowel, the first vowel we see is the U. So we're going to circle the U, B, L, and the I. That would be the vowel, consonant, consonant, vowel. All right, last page. Number 6, using our prefix chart, we need to write a word that means the same as treat before. The shirt is very dirty, so treat before you wash it. Well, before, I'm seeing on my chart, uses the prefix pre, so we could say the shirt is very dirty, so pre-treat it before you wash it. That simply means spray some stain remover on it or let it soak a little bit before you actually wash it. All right, number 7, a pronoun renames an antecedent. Circle the pronoun and draw an arrow to its antecedent. So the students designed the flyers and passed them out. The students designed the flyers and passed them out. So them is our pronoun because it's taking the place of the antecedent, which is the noun we're talking about. And when we say them, what are we talking about? The students designed the flyers and passed the flyers out. So flyers would be the antecedent, what we're talking about in this sentence. Okay, on number 8, we need to choose the word that means to tell how two things are different. Demonstrate, contrast, or effect. Well, compare was how two things are the same, so I know contrast is how two things are different. Their example sentence is, the contrast between blue and green isn't very big. So that means the difference between those two colors isn't a lot. There's not much difference between them. So I might say, I will contrast the characters in my story. So instead of comparing the characters, I might contrast the characters, meaning I might tell how the two characters are different. So you can use one of our example sentences, or you can come up with your own using the word contrast. Okay, number 9, what does the underlined word mean? Jack hurled himself out the door on his way to the movies. He's on his way to the movies. Did he shuffle out the door? Did he dance? Or did he rush? I'm thinking if he's going to the movies, he probably rushed out the door. If he was going to a dance, he might have danced out the door. All right, and lastly, number 10, always use a comma before a coordinating conjunction when it is connecting two complete thoughts in a sentence. So we've talked about this when making compound sentences. We have to put a comma in between where the two sentences are joining. I put my clothes in the dresser and I put my shoes in the closet. We put a comma after dresser because it's the end of that first sentence, but yet we are joining it with the second part. So instead of a period, we would put a comma to join it. Marco made a pizza, comma, so we did not have to eat out. So Marco made a pizza would be one good sentence. We typically would put a period there, but since we are joining it with the second sentence, we changed the period into a comma to join them both together. And girls, that ends our grammar lessons for this week. I hope you are doing well. If you have any questions or need any help with anything, please reach out to your teacher or check out our Google Classroom page where there's extra resources available. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I will check back in with you soon. Take care.